John 3:12. Si terrena dixi vobis, et non creditis, quomodo si dixero vobis caelestia credetis. If I have spoken to you concerning earthly things, and you do not believe, how will you believe if I speak to you concerning heavenly things? Here Jesus is continuing to talk about his message and his authority in his fascinating conversation with Nicodemus. And the first thing I would draw your attention to is these very interesting adjectives here. In the first case, a first/second declension adjective, terrenus and in the second case, a third declension adjective of two terminations, caelestis, for the masculine and feminine, and then for the neuter, caeleste. Both of these words, as you can tell by looking at them, come from nouns that should be familiar to you. Terra, the earth, gives its name to things on the earth, and caelum, or as it's often written, coelum, gives its name to things in heaven. Both of these adjectives are being used as substantives, which means they're not describing particular nouns. They're simply functioning on their own to convey all the meaning that we need them to. Si terrena dixi, if I speak to you concerning, we have to add in English, but we don't have to add a preposition or anything like that in Latin with this construction. If I speak to you about terrestrial what? Terrestrial things. So here we've got a neuter nominative plural, and we've got the same thing down here with caelestia. If I have spoken, here's our first person perfect active indicative, first person singular perfect active indicative. If I have spoken to you concerning terrestrial or earthly things, and you do not believe, now in the present, here probably for our English brains, we'd add some punctuation. This whole thing is a quotation, of course. How, quo modo, literally in what way, by what means. Remember, we've spoken about this before. This is quo modo, ablatives, by what means, standardized just into a one-word adverb here. Quo modo, how, then we've got to jump to credetis. How, and note this E, this signals to us, remember, credo, credere, being a third conjugation verb, forms its future tense simply by substituting an E for the thematic vowel. There's no be infix, bi, that we see with verbs of other conjugations. That is not going to help us here. We've got to pay attention enough to notice this solitary E and what it implies. You will believe. How will you believe? Quo modo credetis. And then here we're given this condition under which this future belief might hypothetically take place, or indeed might not take place, following the sense of what Jesus says here. And so we've got a future perfect form, dixero. Remember, we form the future perfect by taking the perfect active stem from, in this case, dico dicere, which is dix, and we add in our future forms from sum esse, ero, eris, erit, and so forth. We put them together and we get the future perfect. Here best translated into English with the simple future. If I speak to you in the future concerning caelestia, heavenly things, quo modo credetis, how will you believe?